I found the cheapest things at my thrift store and turned them into decor you will swear came from a boutique. In today's video, I am sharing easy, affordable thrift flips that look high-end but cost next to nothing.
Hi, I'm Loli, and I'm so glad you are here.
I found this planter piece at my local thrift shop for just $3. I'm going to go ahead and remove all the flowers off of it. And we are going to clean it very well with some of this routine clean from Dollar Tree. Once everything was clean and dry, I'm going to take some of this linen white chalk paint from Rust-Oleum and give them 2 coats. Then I'm going to use this moss color from Waverly, and I'm going to be painting the edges or the top section of each one of the planters. And here are all 3 pieces once everything was nice and dry. I wanted to elevate the tray, so I'm going to take some of these apple pieces that I got from Hobby Lobby at 90% off, so I paid 25 cents for them. I'm going to take 4 of them, and I'm going to paint them using my Waverly Moss paint. Once all 4 were covered, I'm just going to put them to the side to dry. In the meantime, I'm going to take this peel and stick from Dollar Tree, and we will be covering the sides of each one of these planters. I started by peeling off the little piece that goes on the side there, as you see right there. Like the paper in the back is divided into 2 pieces. So I peeled off the smaller piece so I'm able to line everything correctly. Once I was sure that everything was straight, I'm going to remove some of the other side of the paper backing to expose the adhesive. And then I'm going to just make sure that everything is nice and straight. And we are going to adhere this to the side, making sure to remove any kind of bubbles that may be in the middle. Once I was happy with it, I'm going to just go ahead and trim off with my scissors that piece for that side. Then using my file, I'm going to file off the edges, being very careful not to peel off the paint in the process. I do not want to expose the red paint that's underneath of the white, so here when everything was thin enough, I just ripped up the rest of the paper. Then we are going to do the same thing to the bottom. I left the bottom blank, as you see right there, with no paint or anything. I have a plan for that later on. For now, we're going to remove the paper off of here, and we are going to repeat the process for all 4 sides. If you're enjoying this video so far, don't forget to give it a nice big thumbs up. It lets YouTube know that you're enjoying the video, and it pushes it out to more viewers like you. I appreciate it so much. Thank you. For the second one here, I'm going to try something different. I'm going to try cutting off the excess paper with my X-Acto knife instead to try to minimize the risk of having that red show on the sides. So that worked out pretty good as well. So the most important thing doing this is to have a nice sharp X-Acto knife blade, because I didn't, and I had some pieces that didn't really quite cut properly, so I had to end up sanding that down instead. So either way, if you do use the X-Acto knife, make sure it is sharp. If you don't, just be very careful in the way that you are sanding off the excess. And here is the planter completely covered. I am going to cover up that bottom. So I'm going to use some of this cork sticker sheet from Dollar Tree, and I'm going to press it on my sticky side, and I'm going to cut off the excess using my scissors. At first, I used my X-Acto knife, but due to the bumpiness of the material, it came up a little bit uneven and rough. So it is much better to use the scissors so you have a cleaner cut. And here it is. I repeated this process 3 times. Now we're going to add the feet to a little riser. First, I took my needle nose pliers and removed the sticks off of the middle, so this will sit flat onto the surface. And I added a combination of Fix All and hot glue to that section. And added each one to each corner of the riser. Now it's time to add some floral foam to the bottom of each one of the planters. I just added a generous amount of hot glue to the bottom and added a piece of that floral foam right in the bottom. This is what I ended up with. Then I'm going to take some of this boxwood that I got from Walmart and add it into each one of the planters. And this is what we ended up with. But we are not done yet. It is time to cover up that foam. So I will be taking some of this Spanish moss from Dollar Tree and added it into the planters. And now this is complete. Let me know what you think. Alright, let's get on with the next inspiration. We will be using this piece that I got at a local garage sale for $1, and I'm going to go ahead and remove all the hardware off of it. Then I'm going to go ahead and sand off the edges. They were a little bit bumpy, so I'm going to sand off where the holes are, and I'm going to do a light sanding on the entire surface of the piece. If you're enjoying this video so far, please don't forget to subscribe. And when you do, make sure that you hit the notification bell so YouTube notifies you each time that I upload a new video. All these things are free and they mean the world to me. Thank you. Alright, then I'm going to take my linen white from Rust-Oleum and give this 2 coats. Once that is nice and covered, I'm going to go ahead and add some of this peel and stick from Dollar Tree. This came this year, and I'm going to be using 3 pieces for it. If you use 3 pieces and you bought them at the same level, you will have an exact match. You will be able to continue the picture sideways as you go along. So here I'm making sure that everything is nice and level before I glue it down, and make sure that your pictures are also straight. I am slowly removing the backing as I'm pressing down on the peel and stick. This is to avoid any kind of bubbles or any kind of wrinklings as I go along. Now it's time to cut off the excess. So I'm going to just go ahead and put it over one of these cut surfaces from Dollar Tree and use my X-Acto knife to remove the excess. I will not be using the same piece. I'm going to come in with a new piece in order to have this picture match perfectly. And we're going to do the same process that we did with the first one, starting with the little corner, making sure that everything matches together. The flower, the butterfly, everything matches perfectly together. Once we are sure, we are peeling back the back and slowly pressing down in order to remove any bubbles or any wrinkles. And I trimmed off the excess off camera as I did with the first one. And now we're going to add the last piece. Again, we're going to use a new piece in order to match everything together as well. So we're going to use the little corner right here. So just remove the paper off of the corner only. I am making sure that everything sticks evenly and without bubbles. And now we're going to cut off that excess as well. Now it's time to put back all the hardware. In order to find my holes, I'm just poking it with my weeding tool from my Cricut on there, so I'm able to see it on the other side and I know exactly where to punch the holes. I am using the pointy part of a skewer to open up my holes. Then I went to the back of my piece and added my screws. Once those were halfway in, I'm adding the knobs to the front. I thought this looked beautiful, but I needed something more. So I took this home sign that I painted for a different project, and I painted it with 2 coats of this navy blue chalk paint from Kilts. Once it was nice and dry, we are going to attach it to our project. I'm going to use a combination of E6000 and hot glue to do that. And that is it for this one. Let me know what you think. For the next inspiration today, I'm going to be using this shadow box that I got from a garage sale for $1. The first thing that I did is take some of these wooden cups that I got from my local thrift shop for $1. I'm going to use 4 of those, and they're going to be the legs to this piece. I'm going to glue them together using a combination of wood glue and wood hot glue. If you're still with me this far into the video, I want to let you know how much I appreciate you. The time that you spend with me is truly valued. Thank you so much. If you are one of those people that are still with me, leave me a thumbs up emoji. I truly appreciate you. All right, now that our pieces are nicely attached, we are clear to continue. So I'm going to give this 2 coats with my white linen white chalk paint from Rust-Oleum. Once they're dried, it is time for us to go to the next step. We are going to be adding this peel and stick from Dollar Tree. This is brand new this year. And here I'm just trying to gauge exactly how much I'm going to use. And I'm going to be bending the edges to use that as a template of where to cut my pieces so I'm able to insert it to the bottom of this tray. Then, using those indentations as a guide, I'm going to use a ruler to mark off the sections so I know exactly where to cut. Then I cut off the section, trying to go directly above that line so it will not show in my finished product. Now comes the moment of truth. Is it going to fit? And not quite, but we are going to work with it. So what I did is just trim off a little piece there off the edge in which it was folding a little. But doing this helped me know exactly how much to cut. So I was able to do that using that indentation as well. Now we are going to peel that section off, and we're going to start adhering this to the bottom of the tray. I am going to slowly press down onto the bottom, making sure that everything is remaining nice and straight as I'm removing slowly the back end of the peel and stick. And I remove the other section of the peel and stick back end using the same process. There was an area that was still a little bit overlapping onto the sides of the tray, but that's no problem. I'm going to take my X-Acto knife and run it right there onto that crease until I cut off that excess, and then I'm going to just remove it very carefully using the edge of my X-Acto knife and just pulling it right off. Once that excess was done, we are done with this. I took it outside, sealed it, and this is done. Let me know what you think. For the next inspiration today, we're going to be using another shadow box that I got at the same garage sale, also for $1. For this one, what I did, I'm going to leave the frame the way it is. I was thinking about removing the back end, but it was more difficult than I thought. So I said, you know what? That is fine. So I'm going to use the back of it as a guide to put the stuff in the front. At the moment, it looked like a good idea, but I forgot that the front of the frame is a lot thicker than the back of the frame. Anyway, so I used the indentations right here to use a ruler and cut off the excess paper so I can have a little bit smaller of a piece to work with. It didn't cut all the way, but that's fine. I'm just going to go ahead and pry it apart, as you see right there. And I knew already that I wanted to have a longer piece than I needed. So here I'm just checking that side to see how much I need to cut off. And I have an estimate here, but I wanted to go in smaller sections to make sure that I didn't cut off too much off the bat. So here I'm just going by bit. I cut off another section after I measured one more time. And now that I know that my long waist is fitting perfectly, it is time to figure out this side. So what I did is I took my paper back out and I'm going to fold it using the help of my ruler to do so. And I'm going to check it against my shadow box one more time. And once I knew exactly, due to the indentation, how far in I needed to cut in, I used my ruler one more time and my X-Acto knife, and I cut off that section. Now that everything fits correctly, I remove the top portion of the back end of the peel and stick, and I'm aligning it up correctly at the top. And now that I know that everything is nice and square, I'm going to take the bigger piece of the peel and stick back in and pull it back slowly as I am adhering it onto the background. And it's looking good. Then I took one of these blessed words from Dollar Tree I got during the Easter time, and I painted it with my chiffon cream from Rust-Oleum. But it was too light, so I decided to darken it up by watering down this black acrylic paint that I got. I just going to shake it off, make it nice and watery so it'll be more of a stain. And I'm going to add it over that blessed sign. I am trying to mimic the same effect that I have in the frame. Once the piece dried, I just glued it to the center, and that was it for this one. Let me know what you think. This next inspiration is also nice and simple. I got this at my local thrift shop. It was actually in the free pile, even though it says $2. And I thought it was great bones, so I'm going to remove that sticker off of it. And I'm going to paint the entire piece with 3 coats of my linen white from Rust-Oleum. But that stain was coming through, so I painted it with 2 coats of the skills and then did 2 more coats of my white Rust-Oleum. Now I'm going to use these stickers that I got from Dollar Tree. I'm trying to pick which one I want, and I went with this one that has the 2 flowers together with some leaves. And we are going to add it right here at the bottom. I'm trying to figure out exactly the angle in which I can preserve most of my leaves here, and I thought this was the best position. I'm pressing it down very nicely, making sure that the leaves are also adhered in the grooves as well. And I'm going to add some butterflies in the top section right there. Now we are going to go ahead and reattach or reapply the hardware. So I added my flower backwards, guys. My sign was backwards, but that's fine. It was easy for me to just reposition them these back on in the opposite places because it was easy to screw these back onto the wood. And for the top section was a little bit harder, but that is fine. I'm going to use the piece to show me exactly where I'm going to drill. And then I'm going to come in with my drill and I'm going to just drill. I'm going to drill a small hole at the top that will make it easy for me to screw that back up at the top as my hanger. And I love this piece. All that we're missing to do is to seal it up. I should have done it before, but I did it after. But here it is, all completed. You let me know what you think. I love this piece. We are starting this project with this tray that I got from a local thrift shop for $1. First thing I'm going to do is go ahead and take some wipes from Dollar Tree and make sure that I give it a nice, good cleaning. Once it's nice and shiny, I'm going to go ahead and cover it with 3 coats of this chalk paint. Then I'm going to use one of these rubber transfers from Dollar Tree. I'm going to place it at the center of my tray and tape it down using some masking tape. I just want to give you a quick thank you for clicking on my video. Thank you for watching, and I hope you enjoy it. Once the transfer is stable, I'm going to go ahead and use my little scraper from Dollar Tree and rub the entire thing using it. The trick is to see how it becomes cloudy as it adheres to the surface. Now that it's done, I'm removing that tape, and there was an area that was a little bit faded at the end, but I liked it. So here I'm taking 2 of these little handles that I got from Dollar Tree, and I'm gluing them using some hot glue. This is just temporary. I just want to see exactly where I want to place them, make sure that they're nice and straight. The screws that they came with were not long enough to help me with this, so I'm going to see how it works like this. Then, once I was happy with what it was looking, I came in with an E6000, and I'm going to use the markings that the hot glue left behind to know exactly where I'm going to put the E6000 to create a permanent hole between these two pieces. And I'm going to repeat the same process with the other handle as well. I let it dry overnight and then added a sealant. And that is it for this one. For the next inspiration this evening, we are going to be making over this little nail sorter that I got at my local thrift shop for $3. I removed that sticker, cleaned it, and then gave it 2 coats with this spray paint from Rust-Oleum. And then we are going to go ahead and add some Mod Podge to the very front, as you see right there. I'm putting a generous amount of it, making sure that it is nice and thin, and I have every single portion of that section covered with this, so I have good adhesion on the next step. Then I took one of these tissue papers from Dollar Tree. I'm going to use the bind one, and I cut a section that was big enough to cover the front, and I'm going to use the edges of it to position the tissue paper in that indentation at the front. And I did this once the Mod Podge was nice and tacky to avoid any excess wrinkling. I paid close attention to all the edges. I wanted to make sure that this was properly adhered into that edges, so it will be a seamless transition. And here I'm using a balled up piece of saran wrap to smooth out any wrinkles. And here I'm just using the wet brush to make sure that it was nicely adhered. Now I'm taking my X-Acto knife and I'm putting it through that edge at the top to remove the excess paper. This is what it looked like so far. And then I'm going to take this rub-on transfer that I got from Dollar Tree, and I chose this one that says Farmhouse, and we're going to put it right there at the curve at the top. And using my scraper tool from Dollar Tree, I'm going to go ahead and rub this on and lift until the entire word is adhered to my piece. And this is what it's looking like so far. But I wanted this distressed, so I took this sanding block or this emery board from Dollar Tree, and I'm just sanding off the edges in different places of this mailer just to give it a distressed look and give it more of a farmhouse look as well. And I truly love how this piece turned out. It is truly a work of art. I'm so proud of it. Here it is all completed. Let me know what you think. All right, let's head on over to the next inspiration. So I found this little jug at my local thrift shop for 75 cents. Just going to go ahead and clean it very well. And I gave it 3 coats of my black folk art chalk paint. Once it fully dried, I took some of this white wax from Waverly and a lint-free cloth, and I'm going to rub it on the entire surface of this picture, making sure to get into the little nooks and crannies. I did leave the nooks and crannies of the bottom portion of the picture done. I liked how the white over the raised section look in that portion with the black being in the indentations. But for that area above that line, I wanted to make sure to have this along every single nook and cranny. I have a different plan for that part. And I also made sure to rub it against all the other surfaces that are flat in the top and on the sides and on the very inside of the picture. Just making sure to have a decent amount of that wax on my rag and not to rub too hard, because that will mean I will be removing some of that chalk paint, since we are working with this that is wet, and chalk paint is easy to be distressed if you using a wet agent over it.
I am touching up some sections in which the black paint rubbed off, so I'm just making sure that that's nice and filled in. Then I'm going to come in with a small brush and I'm going to add some of that white wax into the nooks and cranny of this part here. Once I was happy with the amount of wax on there, I'm coming back in with my brush and I'm going to add some black paint to every single raised surface on here, making sure to keep my brush just with minimum amount of paint and just using a paper towel there to remove any excess. And then I'm just rubbing the brush like on the side of it, like laterally on there on the surface, to add the paint to all of the raised areas to bring back the picture in this picture. Watch how all this comes to life. Look how beautiful that's coming out. You can see the little branches on the tree, the horse, the two horses. It's beautiful. Look at that. Let me know what you think.
Friends, if you enjoyed this video so far, don't forget to give the video a thumbs up.
And check out that doggy on the handle. I absolutely love this piece. Let me know what you think.
And here we go with the next inspiration.
I used this shadow box that I found at my local thrift shop for $2, and I painted the inside with my white Back & Decor paint and primer, but then I wasn't happy with it. So I came back with my rich black from Folk Art and gave the entire piece a full coat with this paint, including the outside. Then I took some of this white glue from Dollar Tree and applied it into the back panel. And I'm going to make a nice even coat and a generous one as well, making sure not to get any glue on the sides. I added some tape to the sides for the next step and just let the glue dry a little bit. Then I came in and added some of my Black & Decker white paint and primer over the glue, as it was still, the majority of it was still wet. And I'm going to go ahead and cover the whole thing, making sure that it's a thick coat, because I'm only going to give it one coat of paint. And once I was done with that, I took my heat gun and I'm going to go over the entire piece. And there you see before your eyes how the crackle begins to appear. I love this effect, guys. I've been wanting to try this for a while, and finally today I did. I was inspired by Gigi. She did a her channel is At Home with Gigi. Her name is Gwen, and she did one recently, and I'm like, you know what, I always wanted to try. Let me give it a try for this video. And I liked how it turned out. The top didn't come out as many crackle as I wanted, so I'm coming back over it with the black paint once more, only in that section. I'm going to dry it very quickly using my heat gun, and I'm going to apply another coat of that glue also to that section, and I'm going to do the exact same thing I did before. Make it nice and even and add the white paint over it and use my dryer one more time. I love how it turned out. Look at that. Then I took one of these Farm Fresh words from Dollar Tree. It comes in a pack of 6, I believe, during the fall time. And I just covered it with my rich black Folk Art chalk paint, only giving it one coat. Here I'm removing the tape. I should have removed it while the paint was still wet, because here I was having some of the tape pull up the paint, and to avoid that, it's best to remove the tape once the paint is still wet. Alright, so we were able to take that off, and I'm going to take that word I just painted and attach it using some hot glue onto the top section of the shadow box. My friends, if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification bell and set it to all so you're notified on all of my videos. And then I'm going to take one of these little, I don't know, they're not really magnets or anything, they're just decor pieces from the Dollar Tree. It's a little barn, and I'm going to just attach it using some hot glue. And I position it right underneath of the Farm Fresh word. And you think I'm done? I'm not done yet. It looks cute, but I'm not done yet. So I took some of this polka dotted ribbon from Dollar Tree and I created a small bow, just crossing it along itself, like crisscross applesauce. And then I'm just going to bunch it up in the middle and tie it with a piece of jute cord in the middle as well. I dovetailed the ends and we were good to go. But this was covering the words, so I tucked in those tails and just kept the top half of the bow. Then I came in with these pieces of eucalyptus I had left over from my previous DIY, and I'm gluing them right behind the bow, as you see there. I needed a longer stem, so I just removed one of the leaves off the bottom, so I was able to add the stem to the back of the bow. And after some fluffing and repositioning, we are done with this one. You'll see it.
And here we go with the next inspiration.
Use this sign that I got from my local thrift shop as well. And I just took some of my white Black & Decker paint and primer, and I am covering the words to this piece. I did like the greenery, and I did like the frame as it was, so I left it the way it was. I've dried that with my heat gun, and now we're going to use this family word, and I'm going to paint in black with my Rick Full Card chalk paint. Then it was the perfect size for this, so I just position it on there. Now I'm coming in with some boxwood from Dollar Tree, and I'm going to cut off a couple stems on it to create a little arrangement here at the top. Once I position these two, I figure, you know what, it's too much. So I'm going to go ahead and split this into two separate pieces. So I am making the greenery a little bit smaller, and that was a perfect size. Then I took a piece of jute cord, and I'm going to use it to tie these two pieces in place together. And I'm going to wrap the cord around the two stems until I cover it. And this will help me with having a little bit more surface area to glue this to this piece. I tied it in place and added a little bit of hot glue to make sure that that knot did not slip away. Then I attach it using some hot glue. Now it's time for my embellishments. So I'm going to take this polka dotted ribbon from Dollar Tree, and we're going to create a bow for this. And I just added it right there to the middle, just gluing it with some more hot glue. Then I took one of these burlap flowers from Dollar Tree, and we're going to glue it right in the middle of the bow, right there, with a generous amount of hot glue. And it's looking so pretty, right? I love this piece so far. Look at that. Look how cute. But it was looking kind of starky for me, that black, so I took it off once more, and I'm going to distress the edges using my emery board just to have this match a bit better with the frame. I want this to have a distressed look as well, but I also like how the black popped. And then I position it again. There was not even need for any glue because it just fit there perfectly. And now this piece is done. Let me know what you think.
Let's start with these beautiful candle holders that I found from a thrift flip in Florida on my visit recently there to my in-laws. These were actually marked at, this one was $4, but it was 50% off, so I got it for $2. This one was $3, and I got it for $1.50. And then this one, the last one was $6, and I got it for $3. I gave him a nice cleaning using the Stuff Plus that I got from Dollar Tree, and make sure to get in every single nook and cranny of each one of the candle holders. One of the tops became detached, so I'm going to take a combination of E6000 and hot glue and reposition it back where it belongs. And now it is good as new. Now I'm going to take some of this full card black paint, and I'm going to completely cover all 3 of the candle holders. I just make sure to get into all of the nooks and crannies. And also make sure to get the bottom as well, because this is going to be sold and we want everything to be nice and finished. I ended up giving each one 2 coats, and this is what they look like at the end there. You can leave them like this, but you know already I'm not done yet. I'm going to come in with some of this white wax from Waverly, and I'm going to use one of these daubers and lightly dab some of that white wax over the pieces to reveal this beautiful design. Here I'm making sure that the sponge is not too saturated with the white wax, so it doesn't get into the nooks and crannies. So we have a beautiful surface like this, and you can see all the detail on each one of them. And I repeated that with all 3 of the candle holders. You can leave them like this if you like, but I had more ideas, so I want to go ahead and bring all that detail out on this piece right here as well. Here I'm using the dauber even drier than I used for the other portion, and I just want to reveal all those little petals that it has on that portion also. You can also stop here if you want, but here I'm going to bring out the details on this section as well here. So I'm going to come in with some more of that white wax on those surfaces. Just make sure, since this was really shallow, make sure that you don't have too much of the white wax on that sponge, so you're able to reveal the best details. And I did the same thing with this little portion at the top as well. These candle holders are so intricate and they're so beautiful. They have so much detail. I want all that to show. And I repeated that with all 3. And here I'm adding some of that same white wax to the edges of where the candle will go to tie everything together. I also added some white wax to all the ridges as here, all the raised pieces at the bottom as well, to reveal that detail also and give this even more depth. And here they are all completed. Let me know what you think. All right, let's get the next inspiration. For this one, I'm going to use this black that I got at my local thrift store. And I'm going to paint it with 2 coats of this full card rich black paint. Then I'm going to come in with some of that white wax once again and a smaller dauber. And I'm going to dab around the entire house and the courtyard and all that image on this piece to bring it all back to life. My friend, if you're enjoying this video so far, don't forget to leave me a big thumbs up. And while you're there, you might as well subscribe. And make sure that you share this video with your friends as well, so they can enjoy it just as much as you did. Remember, sharing is caring, and it helps my channel grow. Thank you so much. I love how the details come to life as I add the white wax to this. You can see all the intricate little pieces. I can see the tiles in the roof, the trees. It just looks like a beautiful winter scene at the same time as well. And I'm adding some more of that white wax to the edges as well to tie everything together. And look at that. Oh my goodness, I'm loving it. I also added a very light coat on the black section right there, so it will look like a beautiful starry night. And that is it. Let me know what you think. I wanted take a quick moment to say thank you to my subscribers for subscribing, commenting, liking, sharing. All these things help me tremendously. They help my channel grow, and I appreciate you very much for them. And if you have not subscribed yet, what are you waiting for? Go ahead and subscribe and join the Lori D's Creations family. It is free and it means the world to me. For the next inspiration, we will be using this vase that I got at my local thrift store. Look how beautiful the detail on that is. I love it, but it's a little dated. I got it for 75 cents. I'm going to go ahead and remove that tag. And I had some little bit of adhesive still in the bottom. So I'm going to take some of that glue gun and then scrape it off using my Cricut spatula. And then I'm going to wipe it down using a paper towel. I gave it a nice clean it all the way around using one of these wipes from Dollar Tree as well to make sure that I had no dust or no gunk or anything on it. And I also cleaned the inside because this will be sold and we want this to be as beautiful as possible. Now I'm going to come in with some of this folk art rich black paint and I'm going to give this base a total of 3 coats using it. Making sure to keep the coats nice and light so that way we don't saturate much paint on around all of the flowers and that image stays intact. Once it dried, I'm going to go ahead and take some of that white wax that I used for the previous 2 DIYs and another dauber. So I'm going to go ahead and do the same thing. I'm going to make sure that my dauber has some of the white wax, but it's not saturated. And we're going to go over all of the raised section of the vase very lightly, making sure to just add it to the flowers and not to the surface around them. I find this process to be so relaxing. Look how beautiful and how amazingly detailed the flower comes back to life as we add this white wax to it. Look how beautiful. I love that contrast between the white wax and the black surface. It just, I don't know, it just screams chic, high-end, and just simply beautiful. I love how easy it is to just take some paint and a dated piece and then completely transform it and make it brand new for just cents. In the case of this vase, 75 cents, a little bit of white wax, some black paint, and voila, look how beautiful. But I'm not done yet. I want to bring out some more details. So I'm using a very dry dauber and I bounced it up and down, revealing all the beautiful texture and ridges that the paint left behind. You can display it as it is, or you can display it with some greenery or some flowers. Here it is. How will you display this piece? Will you leave it as it is? Or maybe display it with some greenery or some flowers. Here it is with some greenery. This is my favorite. My friend, as always, thank you so much for watching. Be blessed, be a blessing, and craft responsibly. And if you enjoyed today's content, here is some more videos you are sure to enjoy. Thank you again so much for watching. You're amazing. Bye.